Welcome to From the Baseline with Premier Basketball Report. This is another Worldwide Hoops edition. I'm Mark Williams, Premier Basketball Report Global Scout, and we appreciate you tuning in. On this episode, we're excited to interview 2022 Alana Goodchild from Australia. We talk about her development pathway in New South Wales, her experience with the Australian national team, and her experience at the Center of Excellence. So we're excited about that interview. And about halfway through the interview, you'll get the chance to check out our latest highlight video. So, for college coaches, she's definitely a player you need to know in the 22 class. So we're excited to have her on today. Also this week, the NCAA made a big announcement, announcing that all winter athletes in NCAA Division I sports would be granted an additional year of eligibility. Now, there's a lot of talk on how this is going to play out, but it's going to have big impacts on recruiting, especially international recruiting. So after the interview, we're going to talk about that ruling and what's the impact on international recruiting. So before we jump into the interview, we're going to take a quick break. Stay with us. After the break, we'll be on with 2022 Alana Goodchild from Australia.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Athlete Vision Sports presents the most advanced new recruiting engine on the market today. Athlete Vision records all your big tournaments on high-definition video. You can show your A game to a nationwide audience, create your own player profile, or upload your own highlight videos. College recruiters have instant access to your tournament videos. Let Athlete Vision catapult you to the next level. Sign up for Athlete Vision today.
Hey, welcome back from the break, and appreciate you tuning in. I am joined by 2022 Alana Goodchild from Australia, actually Sydney, Australia, or outside of Sydney technically. But we appreciate you taking time on your day off here. It's Sunday in Australia when we're doing this interview, and no training today, so it's a day off. Big plans for today?
Not really. We're moving rooms, so just all packing up all of our stuff, moving. But yeah, going to get some shots up after. But yeah, nothing very much. So yeah.
Oh man, you get a day off and you gotta move. Nobody likes to move. Gosh.
No, it's like extra gym work carrying all these boxes. But yeah, it's good.
I gotcha. Well, hey, once again, appreciate you tuning in. Now we've met before, and we'll talk a little bit about that. It was kind of a happenstance at a under 16s in Perth, but you're at the COE now, and you've got the opportunity to represent Australia. But when was it? At what age were you introduced to basketball?
So I sort of started basketball when I was 7 years old. So I actually originally got introduced to the game by my chiropractor because my grandma originally wanted me to play netball because she obviously played up netball when she was younger, so she obviously wanted me to play. But my chiropractor was like, oh no, that's really bad for your knees and ankles of the joints because of the impact the netball has. So she said, might as well just try basketball because it's a little bit more flowing and not so stagnant, and you can hit people, which is always exciting. So I sort of got introduced into the Aussie Hoops program. So there's a little program, I think in every state in Australia, called Aussie Hoops. That's from all like little people, like little tiny tots just running around trying to learn how to play. That's sort of how I started, and then just sort of fell in love with the game, just started training more, getting more involved, and then it's sort of taking me to where I am.
Awesome. Netball is, most Americans probably aren't very familiar with netball. But it's kind of like it's got a pole with just a net, no backboard.
No backboard.
You can get over there and shoot, but nobody can block you.
Exactly. No one can touch you. No one can do anything.
Right.
A certain distance away, but
they have to stay a certain distance away, and then like the middle of the court is kind of like a free for all where there's interchange back and forth, and it's almost kind of like an ultimate frisbee. You kind of got to dribble, but you don't really have to dribble.
Yeah, ultimate frisbee. Yeah, that's a good. Yeah.
And so it's interesting. They really like all the tall players. Really what netball is. Yeah. So you got introduced at 7. When was it? At what age? And you played Aussie hoops, kind of going up, and they're teaching you all the basic skills and stuff.
Yeah.
What age was it for you that you were like, man, I really like enjoy this, and I want to try to see and work and try to be the best player that I can be? Do you remember when that was?
It was a bit later, obviously, from when I started playing. But I think it was when I started making like more representative programs. In Sydney we call it like reps. So I started as a double bottom age in under 12s. Obviously like still learning the skills. Like I still wore like high pigtails and bright pink shoes, like that sort of thing. Like I was that girl. And then I started getting obviously more court time and playing experience. And then I think maybe I was in 2 years in under 12s or 3 years in under 12s. And then I think it's when I made under 14s, I sort of was like, okay, I can actually like do something with this. Because I was tall, I could shoot. So I was like, oh, maybe I should train more. So I started training a lot outside of just like the regular trainings that we had. And I just, like I said, like I just fell in love with the game so quickly. So you start watching game film, you start sort of want to mimic like certain players. So yeah, that was really sort of not special time because I didn't know it at the time, but now looking back, it's sort of really exciting, like seeing how my mindset changed into the basketball world. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, and you know, you start having success, and I'm sure you having an older brother, you know, who plays a little bit and plays rec stuff, and you know, with his mates and his friends, but having an older brother who was playing sports probably helped you along because you were tag along and try to play with them, and I know your brother is about 6'6", and so height runs in the family. And I think, you know, also not only height, but physicality runs in the family. Like, you know, we're okay with like beating each other up and mixing it up a little bit.
It's always this. Every time we play, it's always butting heads. It always ends in an argument. It never ends nicely. Always an argument. One just walk inside. Yeah. Well,
and I'm sure when you are playing one-on-one or even playing with friends and you start beating him, it gets just a little bit more physical. He's not gonna let you win.
Oh yeah. When I bring my friends around, he likes to show off because when he plays in his local comp, he used to block people all the time. But then when I'm with my friends, I just up fake and he goes flying. So he gets a little bit pissed off at that. But yeah, it's good.
I'm sure he does. That's awesome. Hey, so around age 13, you got invited to the state performance program. Which there's kind of three stages to that, and there's a development performance program, and that's some of the younger kids who are higher performing than the state program, which typically is like under 14s, under 16s, under 18s, and then you got the NPP, which is the national performance program, which is they select from the state and kind of hire in tops in the state, and they get more advanced training. But you know, 13, you got invited to the state performance program, and really from there, you know, your game started to grow playing under 14s and then, you know, being on under 16s. And then that's where we met the first time, was in Perth. In Perth. And you're with New South Wales Metro. I think you were bottom age at this point.
I was the baby of the team.
Yeah, you're the baby on the team. One of the taller kids on the team, but you're the baby on the team. And it was the finals, and it was in the main gym, and no other games were going on. And I was sitting up top at the top row, and your mom happened to be sitting like right in front of me, or kind of right in front of me. And I can't remember what happened or something. And
you just started talking about anything.
We just started talking, and then
my mom doesn't talk to anybody, so I'm not surprised she started conversations.
It didn't take long. Yeah. I think I was up there talking to somebody, and she's like, "Wait, are you American?" And she's like, "Your accent doesn't sound like ours." And so we hit it off and talked a little bit through the game, and then after your game, the boys championship was, and then you came up and we chatted a little bit and stuff there. So what do you remember most about that championship? You know, it was really your first one probably to put on, you know, New South Wales, you know, Metro uniform.
Yeah.
You being a bottom age player and being the youngest on the team, most likely, and being chosen to represent your state. What did that mean to you?
Obviously coming from like Aussie Hoots, I never really had that sort of big championship sort of experience. So that ton, I had no idea what to expect. So the older girls who were like at age, not bottom age, they said they've already done it before, so they already know that experience. But me coming in, I had no idea what to expect, had no idea there was like big seats, like everyone watching, had no idea it was even filmed. So I got a shock of my life when I got there for the first time. But yeah, so I was originally on that team. I was obviously bottom age, very new, not new to the game, but I knew what I was doing, but it's still very raw. I was raw, but I could shoot the 3-ball very well. I was probably one of the best shooters on the team. So I think every single scout knew what I did, that we had a play called doubles. I think you might even remember. There was a horns flare. Our big would just screen my player. I'd run off, come off, shoot 3 in the seam. I think I got maybe 3-4 threes a game from that. So that was sort of my, and then I also like to beat people up down low, nice and physical. But yeah, that was sort of my introduction to that sort of championship game. And then I just sort of and I made the team the next year. I co-captained that team because the other girl who was bottom age with me, we co-captained that team. We're in the Sunshine Coast for top age under 16s. We lost our bronze medal game there, whereas in Perth we won our bronze medal game. And then under 18s, I made again bottom age, which I'm so thankful and grateful for. I went to Townsville. That was awesome. That was last year. So I first started my championship sort of games 3 years ago. Am I right?
Yep.
Yeah, 2017. Yeah. So yeah.
Yeah, because you would have been top age under 18s this year.
Yeah, that hasn't happened. That's a bit sad.
Yeah, we'll get to that whole thing in a little bit. But and I remember you as a young player there at the under 16s. You talk about the horns flare. I mean, you could see it. You came in, and I even said to your mom, "Here comes horns flare." One time, because it was a play that worked, and you weren't the only one. There's
going for it, so we just kept going to it.
Yeah. They would hedge the point guard, and I think, let's see, who was the point guard on that team? Was it Isabel Morgan?
It was Izzy, Isabel, and Kitty, Katriana Henderson.
Isabel and Kitty. Yeah. She was the other one I was going to say. Were your point guards, so they could get down the lane, turn the corner and get down the lane. So your girl had to hedge, and you would just flare off, and the opposite post would dive to ball side block, and I mean, you got 3 or 4 threes a game just out of that. So
simple but so effective.
Oh, absolutely. So but it was cool to see you there, and then your game grow to where it is now. And that's the cool thing. B, Perth's one of my favorite cities to visit. I just love Perth. I think it's, especially in July, everybody's like, it's so cold. Everybody's like, it's so cold. I'm like, dude, this is great. I'm in shorts and a sweatshirt. Like,
I'm used to it.
I'm going walks on the beach in the morning, and I'm like, dude, this is nice. So it's a beautiful place. So, all right, we're going to take a quick break. During this break, you're going to get to see some Alana's highlights. And so enjoy these highlights, and we'll be back after this. welcome back to From the Baseline with Premier Basketball. I'm Mark Williams, joined by 2022 Alana Goodchild. Hope you enjoyed our highlights there. If you didn't, scroll back a little bit or rewind or just drag the button back and make sure and check out those highlights. Hey, before we talked about representing New South Wales Metro and the under 16s and under 18s, and in 2019, you attended an Australia development camp in May, and from that camp you got invited to be part of the under 15 Oceanias that y'all played in Papua New Guinea.
Yeah.
Share a little bit about it's one thing about wearing the New South Wales, the NSW jersey, but when you get to put on Australia and the emerald and gold, and
Yeah.
I mean that's something special. Share about that experience when because you always do a big presentation, like if it's your first time, somebody gives it to you. Share about that when you realize, man, I'm actually going to get to put this on.
Yeah. Like I said, it's a completely different feeling. Obviously putting on the New South Wales jersey is obviously such a huge honor, representing my whole state in a sport that I love. But then again, putting on an Australian jersey, it's a completely different feeling and a lot of people feel like there's a lot of pressure because you're representing the whole of Australia, but I think it's like an opportunity to show people like what we are as a country. So even like the ability to even have one of my favorite players, Alana Smith, same name as me, but just different spelling. Her number is number 11 and I got number 11 as well. So that just happened to be coincidence. Yeah. So that again, that was also so, it's so like thrilling to just have that opportunity to put it on. And even just to go warm up. I remember the first time we warmed up as a team. I don't remember who we were playing. I don't remember who we were playing the first game, but I remember our warm up. It was so high energy. We were stuffed by the first quarter. We were always so like up and in. But that was 2018. I can't remember. Was that 2018?
No, it was 2019 because y'all played in August of 2019 because y'all were supposed to play the Asian Championships in April this year.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
And for the World Cup, that would have been in
this year, yeah.
August this year.
In Romania, yeah. Yeah, it was in 2019, like the January, yeah.
I don't know, with this COVID-19, it feels like it's been a whole decade.
I know, it feels awful, yeah. It feels like the whole start of the year just sort of stopped.
Right, yeah. This whole 6 months is like, dude, this is, I'm thinking I got a bunch of gray hair, but I don't. But it's like, golly, this thing's taking forever. Now, y'all won the Oceanias, which between you and New Zealand, it's a lot of the islands, Papua New Guinea and Samoa. Right, and those countries, which it's great opportunities for them. But the real challenge for y'all for qualifying would have been the Asian under 16s.
Yeah, that sadly didn't happen.
Yeah, unfortunately got that postponed because of COVID, and unfortunately the under 17s got canceled as well. And so it'll be interesting. I know they'll start prepping for the under 19s.
I think so,
yeah. And so it'll be interesting to see who gets picked there, and they'll do the under 18s as well. So good luck in that process.
Thank you.
As I know you'll get invited to that camp. And so now you are a newbie to the COE or the Center of Excellence. You were supposed to start March time?
Because I got the call in February, I think.
Right. And that they're March, and then that got delayed a little bit because of COVID, and you jumped in May. What have you enjoyed most about being at the COE?
The day-to-day battles, the day-to-day sort of training environment. It's because we're in the environment with the best 12 athletes in the whole country of playing all day, every day. So even just like little one-on-one trainings, like I'm playing against like an age group above me, Olivia Pollard, like we're a matchup because we're the same position. And we just match up, and that sort of bond we sort of understand each other's game, and we push each other out of our comfort zones to just try be creative, just learning different skills. And even in the weight room, just pushing ourselves, because we have the staff and the support networks here, we can to utilize them to obviously maximize to our best. So that's awesome. Loving every single moment of it, wouldn't change it for the world. So even me moving out of home is obviously tough, because I have a close connection with my family, but they're only 3.5 hour drive away back in Sydney. So it's not that I live in Perth and it's 5-hour flight. So sometimes I can go back and see them when we don't have training. So that's really positive. Absolutely loving it down here.
Yeah, that's awesome. Well, and it's not a bad drive from Sydney to Canberra. I've made it a couple times. Actually, it's a pretty drive.
It's a lovely drive. Isn't there the Anzac Memorial Drive, isn't there?
Yes.
Yeah. That's lovely.
Yeah, so it's not bad. So and it always is an adjustment, and I think it's a cool thing. One of the cool things for y'all being at the COE is not only the high level of coaching and the training and the weights and all that kind of stuff, but you get a taste of living away from home.
Like a college environment. Sort of.
Right, and it really is. I mean, you're in a dorm, right? And it's all on you, whether to get your homework done, be on time, catch the bus to school, all that kind of stuff. There's a lot of responsibility there, but realizing that you have to do your laundry and you have to clean your room, and mom's not there to take care of it. Yeah. And so that just helps the transition when you go, over the ocean, to the States, to join a college and stuff. So, let's talk a little bit of recruiting. I know you're talking to quite a few schools. What are you enjoying most in the recruiting process?
Obviously when I first started, it's all very new. So obviously when they first call you, they obviously call you to find out about you. So it's obviously going, oh, they actually want me, like little things like that. Learning just about their different systems and how they play. It's just really interesting to hear like what college, like even just different coaches, like their different game styles, their different game players, their sort of mentality of the game and who they want on their team, which is really interesting. It's quite funny because obviously you have highlight films and then you have the coaches that really understand you as a player. And it's really interesting because they already know your game, even just by watching highlight films. Right. And then there's coaches that just have no clue. They're just like, oh yeah, you're going to be our number 5, which I'm not. I'm like a wing player. I'm like a wing forward. So it's quite funny, like listening to the different coaches trying to pick out my sort of game styles. But for the majority, I've absolutely loved it. And obviously it's very thrilling to hear a lot of coaches talk praise about you and how you'd suit their system. But yeah, obviously very new experience and looking forward to the next year and a half before hopefully, fingers crossed, I sign somewhere.
Yeah. Well, I don't think for you, I don't think it's going to be a deal. I hope you sign something. I think it's going to be, where am I going to sign?
Hopefully.
Your skill set works in a lot of programs in the United States. We call it a spread 4.
Yeah.
It's really a wing forward. Like, you're not right. And then there's programs that run a lot of pick and pop action, which you're familiar with there.
Really?
Yeah. I do that every day, 10 million times. Can I do something different? Come on, coach. That fits your style of play. And I think it's very comparable. You talked about how your game and Olivia Pollard's game are very similar, and a lot of it, y'all do a lot of the same thing. You both can shoot the 3 well, and you both use like a pick and pop situation to create space for a closeout defender. I like what you said, that you both are pushing yourselves outside of your box, because both of you pick and pop and shoot well. But the next growth in your game is I pick and pop and a hard closeout, and I'm ripping and attacking, and then I'm making decisions with that.
That's why we push each other, like we close out each other very hard. So we obviously can use our physicality. Like I'm pretty strong for my size, so I can use my physicality down low. I can attack hips and just get down low. So that's obviously a growth in my game that I'm loving just sort of developing, which is really exciting because I'm playing more on the wing. Yeah. Whereas in New South Wales, I was like the 5 or the 4, like post up, down low, beat people up. But now I'm sort of more free on the outside, can explore more options, and yeah, I'm loving it.
Absolutely. Any idea what you want to study?
At the moment, I've got no idea. I just like to keep options open, just what I want to study. I'm starting to look into nutritional science or sport nutrition. That's been, I've loved, because we have a nutritionist down here, and that sort of inspired me to see what they're doing. Maybe I want to do that.
Right.
And also physiotherapy. I've always wanted to do sort of something in the sport industry or the science, but yeah, I'm not, even primary school special eds teaching, that was on my radar like a couple of months ago. So yeah, like I have no idea what I want to do. So yeah, I guess I'll soon.
That's awesome. I taught special ed for 13 years. So.
Oh wow, yeah.
It's a lot of fun.
Seems really rewarding. Yeah.
What?
It seems a really rewarding job. Yeah.
It is. It is. It's you get to work more one-on-one with kids, and really you're helping them to find ways to be successful and a lot of times cope and deal with stuff. Process things differently. And so there is a lot of reward in it, like in teaching anytime you're working with kids and stuff. So.
Even just to see like their faces when they finally understand something, it's just sort of it's really enlightening. It's really good.
Yeah. Well, and I know we talked a little bit, before you went to the COE, you were in the IB or the interbaccalaureate. Yeah, there you go. Say it again.
That one.
Yeah, you're in the IB program, so you're really smart. And unfortunately, going to the COE, the school that you attend there doesn't have it. But academics has got to be something you enjoy. If you're going to be in the IB program. Yeah.
Even when I'm looking at colleges, obviously basketball is a huge focus, but at the end, the basketball career only ends at, if you're lucky, mid-30s to have like a full set, or sometimes not even 30s. So obviously plan B, or not even a plan B, just a second option to have. Obviously you want to say, yes, I've gone to college, done full 4 years of college, I've got a degree, I've had work experience, I know like what field of study that I want to go to, and I enjoy studying. It's not something that I sort of just keep to the side. I don't go to the States going, yes, I want to go best basketball school. Obviously I want to, but I also have to have an education, because secondary education is what college is about. So I obviously hold that very important as well on my, so not priorities, but what I'm sort of looking for as well.
No, absolutely. Well, I think you're in the right mindset there. Playing professional basketball, can make a good living for you. But like you said, at some point, the ball's going to stop bouncing. At some point, it's life happens and family and kids happen. Sometimes it's an injury, unfortunately, and sometimes the body just doesn't work like it's supposed to. So, you always got to have a backup plan. So
very important.
Absolutely, it is very, very important. So, all right, here we go. Last question. Hidden talent. I prepped you with this, and you said juggling was not yours. So you got some teammates.
Juggling got mine. Yeah, I actually have 2.
Okay.
Sure. One of them is I'm semi-fluent in French. I'm mostly fluent in French. So, I also have French citizenship. So, which is obviously a great option for me. So if I finish college and I get into the WNBA, I don't want to go pro in Australia or America, I can obviously go play in Europe as a national, as a citizen. So, because I'm part French, which is awesome. And to have that option even in my back pocket, let's just say, touch wood, that COVID absolutely destroys any hopes of me going to college. Europe obviously is an amazing option for me to go study and play in Europe. So that's obviously I love doing, and I love the language as well. I guess that's this hidden talent. I speak French.
No, that's huge. So, is your dad French?
No, my mum is. So
Mom's French?
Yeah, so she's not she's not pure French. She's not full French, but my grandma and her family is all French. So she grew up speaking French. So I'm the 3rd generation that can actually obtain citizenship from her.
Right.
Yes. If I had kids, they wouldn't be able to get French citizenship, because I think there's a deadline. You can only have citizenship up to 1 point. So I'm very lucky that I have that opportunity. Like my brother has no idea how to speak the French language, but he got French citizenship somehow. So he can go in Europe anywhere. So bully for him. Yeah.
There you go. So
Yeah.
so you know French, and then I think there's one more. What was the other one?
Yeah, I was a musician. I still am a musician. So at my old school back in Sydney, I was on a full music scholarship. So it runs in the family. Like both my parents were professional musicians in the Sydney Symphony Orchestra. Um, and so I sort of took that on my back because I fell in love with obviously music and basketball at the same time, sort of at that same age. But my grandpa was a tuba player and my dad's a trumpet player. So I thought, you know what, it'd be cool if my dad and I can just play duets in the music room at home with me being
Right.
on the tuba, dad on the trumpet. And my brother also played trumpet a little bit, but he stopped now. And yeah, I also did sing in the school choirs. So yeah, music was sort of like an outlet to basketball. Let's just say training was getting really tough or I had a little injury that I couldn't train for.
Right.
Music was sort of like an outlet, which is really good. Down here, I can't really bring a tuba and just keep it in my room.
I was wondering if you got it there.
Let's just say. So yeah, I sadly had to leave that at home. But yeah, I do miss it. I do really miss it a lot.
Yeah.
But yeah, hopefully I can pick it up when I go back home or go over to the States. So that'd be cool.
You should bring it up there once. And on a day like this, that's an off day, you wake up about like 6.
I think my roommates would absolutely hate me if I did
And
that.
you were the wake-up call. Doop, 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 down the hall, all the way up and down. And you when half of them are awake, you go over one that you all love, and you're like right over her, and you're just like, and wake her up.
That's so good. That'd be so good.
That's what you got to. And you're not far from home. You can drive home and bring it and put it in the back.
Yeah. Oh, that's too good. That's a good idea.
That is awesome. That I want video of it. I want to see when that happens. Do it, and do it before like Jade leaves, and you can wake up Jade. That would be awesome.
That'd be so funny.
Yeah, she would be the one, that's for sure. Now you hear that, Jade? If you get waken up by tuba, it was my idea. There you go.
I love that.
That is awesome. That is awesome. Well, Alana, we appreciate you taking some time on your day off.
My pleasure.
Not any training. I know you got moving day. Hopefully it's just down the hallway and not down the hallway up the stairs.
It is. I'm only moving just to the next block of buildings. So yeah, last night I moved a few of my bags so I didn't have to move all of them today, so I can go to the courts and do some shooting. But yeah, just a few more just boxes to take over. So yeah.
Well, awesome. Well, thank you for your time. We appreciate. I've always enjoyed watching you play. Tell your mom I said hi. I don't know if she'll remember me, but
she's very good at remembering people.
Oh, I'm sure. But we appreciate you. College coaches, I mean, if you're looking for a player who's physical, a player who can shoot it, a player who can spread the floor, you need to check out Alana. She's definitely a player that you need to check out and see. Obviously, from the interview, if you can't tell, she's very smart and pretty intelligent. So definitely a player you need to check out. So if you missed her highlights, scroll it on back so you can catch it again. And so once again, we appreciate you coming on today. As 2022, Alana Goodchild. We'll be back right after this break.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Athlete Vision Sports presents the most advanced new recruiting engine on the market today. Athlete Vision records all your big tournaments on high-definition video. You can show your A game to a nationwide audience. Create your own player profile or upload your own highlight videos. College recruiters have instant access to your tournament videos. Let Athlete Vision catapult you to the next level. Sign up for Athlete Vision today.
Hey, welcome back. Hope you enjoyed the interview there with Alana. And appreciate her coming on and joining us with the interview, and really just an incredible young lady and an incredible talent coming out of Australia there in the 22 class. So if you're a college coach and you're looking for a 2022 forward who can shoot it and good skill set, international experience, she's definitely a player you need to check out. So but we appreciate your coming on. So this week, the NCAA announced that they're granting all NCAA Division I winter sport athletes an additional year of eligibility. Now, nobody's really sure how this is going to play out, but it definitely has ramifications on the recruiting side. A couple things. One, from our conversations thus far, the NCAA is leaving it up to institutions on whether they're going to add more scholarships or not to cover that. I think they've kind of limited the rule or put it on pause that you can only have so many on a roster. And you saw that in the spring with the spring sports getting an additional year. But it's going to be interesting because depending on the institution, depending on the finances, because it's a financial decision, will be if schools add scholarships. Case in point, say a school has 15 scholarships, full-time scholarships for women's basketball. They have 3 players graduating or are going to be seniors this year. With this rule now, in essence, those players are juniors. They can decide to come back and play one more year. Well, if they do, then there's 15 scholarships and they've already used them all. Now, the interesting part will be how will they handle that with players that have already committed and signed. That's going to be a tricky part. But there are going to be some schools who just don't have scholarships because their schools don't have the finances to be able to add more scholarships, not only for women's basketball, but you got to think football, volleyball, men's basketball, all the sports, all the winter sports are getting an additional year. And so it becomes a financial decision on the institution. The other thing from a recruiting standpoint, especially for internationals, that they're going to have to watch out and pay attention to is rosters. You are looking at signing, a 21 looking at signing, let's say you're a center, they have a senior center who started and played for the last 2 years. She's going to graduate, and then they have a couple more sophomores and freshmen on the roster. And so you're coming in thinking it's an open competition. Well, you may come in and be, I'm 2 deep or 3 deep, but if that senior decides to stay and play that extra year of eligibility, now you're 3 or 4 deep. And so watching rosters and who's staying and who's going is going to be very, very important. Because instead of coming in and saying, I'm going to play a backup role for a year, it's going to be totally different. And so watching rosters are going to be a big, an important part in making your decision. Now, how's this all going to play out? Nobody knows. And we're trying to figure it out. And the more I talk to college coaches, it's something they're trying to figure out every day. I anticipate the transfer portal is going to be, it's been hopping the last couple of years. It's really going to be hopping this year because when kids graduate, that'll get an extra year, even if they didn't redshirt. And so I think you're going to have a lot of transfers, especially if we all kind of expect the one-time transfer rule to pass in January. You see that. I think the transfer market's going to be crazy. And it's going to be important for international prospects that if you have offers, especially early, that you take them serious because colleges are then going to decide, do I take an international or a high school senior when I can take a 1-year transfer and she's eligible automatically and no longer has to be a grad transfer or a sophomore or freshman. That's really going to have a big effect on recruiting as a whole. So just a couple thoughts. We'll discuss this more. It just came out and there's a lot of up and down. Nobody knows. But hey, we appreciate you tuning in to From the Baseline with Premier Basketball. This is another Worldwide Hoops edition. For Mark Williams, we're coming to you from the baseline.